So there I was, suit and tie on with a notepad in my left hand and a pen in my right, with my matching black shoes shinier than Bernie Sanders' forehead. I was fired up and ready to go at my first business conference. Yup, a business conference. Alright, it was a school job fair, but while there I decided to make the most of it and started exploring possible careers. Eventually I settled on a CEO. It's rewarding, it's high paying, and it's pretty cool when you say it like that. So when I approached the lead of a local investment firm, I was surprised to hear the unexpected yet thought-provoking question. What do you want to accomplish in life? I said I wanted to be a CEO, but the longer I thought, the clearer it really became. I wanted to be recognized, to be remembered, years in the future. I wanted to be great. Though it seems, my answer is hardly unique. How many of us, in this room, have the pursuit of greatness etched into the deepest corners of thought? We're encouraged to follow this misleading path of greatness, insisting we must be recognized and distinguished in anything and everything. In our schools, our careers, and lives. Writer Catherine Stanley contends that it's this very pursuit of false greatness that leaves the pursuer unhappy and unfulfilled. In our society, if anyone or anything isn't on that path, we deem it unfulfilling, unworthy, and even unnecessary. I fear that the seemingly nationwide hunt for that path to greatness is slowly leading us all off the path to true meaning and fulfillment, ultimately eroding the values that make us, us. So today, let's examine how this false notion of greatness afflicts first our worth, next virtue, before examining the implications, and finally, redefining what it means to be great. Darren Walker, leader in social justice and president of the Ford Foundation, puts it best. Lately, we have been told that this romanticized form of greatness should be our highest ambition. He's right. Tell me, do you want to be ordinary? Why be ordinary when you can be extraordinary? But as argued by professor and author Kristen Neff, too often we use the romanticized qualities of distinction as a modern-day measure of worth. And that's my first concern. It seems that unless we're achieving greatness, we're no good. Take our education system, where distinction is met with applause and acceptance to top schools. Ordinary is looked down on. Some call it failure. A University of Michigan study finds that nearly 4 in 5 students respond to average grades with a diminished sense of self-worth and report higher rates of abusing drugs, alcohol, and each other. In Silicon Valley, I'm sure we can all relate to this, be it the pressure to excel into top schools or to do well in athletics, like speech and debate. But when scholastic greatness is glorified, we imply that ordinary is failure. This habit happens in almost every aspect of life. Don't believe me? We'll take our very concept of status. Where all the greats, the distinguished and recognized, are celebrated, ordinary just isn't valued. And this discrepancy between distinguished and ordinary doesn't just affect payrolls, it affects lives. Because a garbage man will almost never be seen with the same worth as a CEO, a receptionist as a manager, a waiter as a manager. It's no wonder so many of us fear living an ordinary, normal life. It's no wonder we so strive for the top and feel like anything else just won't do. It's no wonder why some would be willing to do anything to be great, even if it means sacrificing values. Because that's my second concern. It is astonishing what many normal people would do for the sake of greatness. Do you remember the once great Elizabeth Holmes, infamous for initiating the Theranos blood testing scandal? Natural News reporter Ethan Huff offers that she was so enamored in what he calls her quest for greatness, she used it to justify deceit. When distinction becomes the ultimate goal, that entails the rest, no matter how dishonest and dishonorable. Doesn't matter. This belief is commonplace. It's why Rutgers University report that 64% of students cheat. It's why 30% of athletes use steroids. And not only do we use greatness to justify actions we know are wrong, historically, it has been used to misguide our beliefs. It's why historical journalist David Green attests that Hitler was supported at every level of German society by people who wanted to see their country return to greatness. Sound familiar? Because when today's leaders, throughout the political spectrum, boast of American greatness, we turn a blind eye to inequity and injustice. When you see thousands of migrants' human lives violated at our borders, are those really the values that make America great? When we're willing to use greatness to justify anything, when we're willing to give up the virtue and value that make us ourselves, we're not great. As a kid, I grew up in an ordinary family as an ordinary boy, but I so desperately wanted to be extraordinary. I so craved this greatness that I joined clubs like entrepreneurship and speech and debate, maintaining a 4.0 GPA, unweighted, of course. I envisioned a path to greatness so clear that I felt like I had to be great. It's my fate, because I had no clue what I would do if I wasn't. Until recently, as complexity and contradiction arose in my life, I really started to wonder, is this it? What's my purpose? What's important to me? Nothing. I couldn't name a single thing. I couldn't tell. I didn't know. And that's what makes this so scary. Haven't we all stepped foot on our paths to greatness, only to walk away from what's really important? When we do something because we want to be distinguished, and when we work because we want to be recognized, we're living lies, not life. Wouldn't it be great if we could fix that? So what do? Well, consider what the great Abu Bakr once philosophized. Run away from greatness, and greatness will follow you. Now, I'm not saying to strive for mediocrity or don't try your hardest, but rather the opposite. To start by first rejecting this outdated belief that distinction and recognition should be at the highest of our values, at the detriment of value. We don't need recognition to shape our beliefs. We don't need distinction to tell us who we are. I know. You know. We are all worth so much right where we stand. Or sit, but you get my point. Distinction and recognition are merely the byproduct. It must never be confused with the cause. Second, we must pave a new path for greatness. Greatness is not about winning that gold medal. It is not about being remembered years in the future. And no, it's not even about being a CEO. Greatness is about living life for purpose, for passion, for what's really important. It is about doing your best regardless to outcome. It is about finding meaning in the seemingly mundane, insignificant parts of life. Greatness can be ordinary, because in a life where internal value far exceeds external recognition, we all ought to agree. That would be truly great. Now, how long was that?